Hey everyone, and welcome. My name's Aaron, and today I am here with my new friend Alec Shaw from Alec Shaw Band / other projects as well. Alec, I met him the other night, a few weeks ago. He opened for a band that I was doing video for at a club in Seattle. Really tight rhythm section, and then like really great harmonies too. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of into this band. And then he like rips out this guitar solo, and I'm like, I gotta meet this guy. And I didn't recognize any of the amps he was playing through, which is rare for me, being a total gearhead. So I stalked him, and I was like, hey, come over and let's do a little rig rundown. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for
Alec.
having me.
So tell me a little bit about, I just learned that you're 21 years old, which is 20 years younger than me.
Oh, man.
Which is
I
kind of
didn't
insane.
think that.
Yeah. But you're very young, obviously very into gear and music and, guitar. You must have gotten started like fairly early in your life playing music.
I think at 4th grade is when I started playing on different instruments and just, was interested in doing actually playing instruments. I was always listening to music because my parents growing up. But. Yeah.
So did you play in bands right away, or were you kind of playing, just doing lessons, or how did you get started?
I think, I started playing with my brother and his friend, and we were in like a screamo band in the 4th grade.
In 4th grade, a 4th grade screamo band.
And then I joined the worship team at my church.
Okay, fun.
That's a place that a lot of musicians start out.
Right. That's where I started out too.
Yeah. And then I played in jazz band in high school, and I started my own band, and then from there, I think the next person I played with was Bradford Loomis, which he's kind of like Americana folk guy.
I know him.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And then I play for a guy now, James Anaya. He's like soul. Kind of rock, really fun.
Yeah.
I play for a bunch of different people, and also for Zan Fiscum. She's a Christian artist that you can find on Spotify.
Cool.
And she plays in my band too, but I produce her stuff, so you can check that out online.
Killer. So you have somewhat of an unconventional rig here. A lot of times when guitar players come up, they idolize whoever, and they pick up a Telecaster or a Les Paul or whatever. You don't have a traditional guitar. Tell me about this guitar and why you like it and why you chose it, and what is this thing all about here?
Yeah, well, I mean I like weird stuff. It's just fun, But this particular guitar is a Silvertone. When I found it at a shop, it said 60s. They didn't have an actual date on it because I don't think it has a serial number or anything. But this was like the Sears guitar of the 60s.
Yeah.
It's cheap. It's quirky.
No reason to really put a serial number on it necessarily.
I guess not, yeah. Nobody thought it'd be like kind of a collector's thing later on. But so I kind of found it in the perfect way that you can, because I wasn't planning on buying anything when I was at the store. So I actually played it with this amp. I don't know if you can see it in the photo, but
maybe I'll get a shot after. Yeah.
Okay. But little like 50s combo 5-watt amp, and I just grabbed this guitar off the wall, plugged it into that amp, and then I played it. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I just had to buy it, so I bought them both together. So
and when was that?
Probably three months ago.
Okay, so recent. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So that's the Silvertone with the tiny amp. Do you have a name for the little tiny amp?
It's called an Odell Vega. The guys at the shop told me it was, they probably made it in the National Factory.
Okay, yep.
So kind of the same as those things, and it's,
right.
I think is like an amp Elvis used in Blue Hawaii or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so we've got 2 amps going, and we're like in stereo today.
Yeah.
We've got them both
show off
mic'd up
the effects.
to show off the gear, and because, if you have a chance to go stereo, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So tell me about your other amp. What do we have there?
So this one is it's kind of a clone of a Matchless Spitfire. Apparently they made better parts in the 80s, but some guy pieced it together from old parts. So
yeah,
it's kind of that.
Is that like a 15-watt EL84
yeah, 18,
thing?
I think.
18 watt,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got two EL84s and two 12AX7s.
Yep.
Yeah.
A 60s Silvertone guitar. I picked this thing up before we started rolling too, and it legitimately like feels like a toy.
Uh-huh.
And it's so light, and yet
Kind of hollow.
it's like and yet it's like resonant and like fun to play, and it's one of those sort of like you said at the time you wouldn't have thought this is going to be this like classic guitar that people love, but it's one of those.
It's just got a ton of character.
Well, let's hear that. Cool. Why don't we hear maybe just a kind of a basic sound into your 2 amps there.
Okay, should I turn off the compressor?
Maybe
just leave it.
Yeah. Let's go like full dry and just kind of hear your sound here. Right. And we'll talk about your board in a minute.
Kind of dies really
real
fast.
Old
it's got
timey,
a weird sustain. These pickups sound really cool for like some of those like. Really jangly.
Yeah. It reminds me a little bit of I watched a rig rundown with James Bay, and he kind of has like an old guitar, and he said he enjoys like sort of fighting with it. It's sort of like part of the appeal is kind of the fight of like I don't know, a piece of gear that's not necessarily that fights you back a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. It's really funny because a lot of people that end up playing this guitar, it kind of inspires them to play more emotionally or something. And I don't know why that is, but I can. There's something about the way it's like hard to kind of play, but when you can like dig out that great sound, it's like inspiring for some reason.
Yeah. I love that, and I feel like it also probably teaches you to be maybe a better player.
Yeah, it totally does. I mean, I've since having this guitar have my technique has changed. Like the way I'll play like solos and stuff, or I'll play just comping or whatever you call it. I'll just like I don't know. I started to arc my fingers more, almost like I became more proper.
Right.
Like So I don't know.
Because you had to.
I had to, yeah. And it doesn't just fight back physically, but it also fights back like the way it sustains, because it's so like short, and the way it dies, that also it's good for like in a mix where you want to be really rhythmic, like play thick chords and stuff, and it just like runs out of the way really fast. You know? So it's really cool to get chunky with, Right. Get chunky with
it. Well, cool. Let's look at your board here. You got some interesting, fun things. Some things I recognize. Some things I don't. But maybe
where shall we start?
Maybe we can why don't we just go like kind of in order, if there's an order.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of take us one by one through everything or whatever you want to show us.
Yeah, I just recently scaled down and up at the same time by getting a smaller board, but more stuff.
Okay.
I used to have that big Pog, like the vintage Pog on it. So it was giant.
Yeah,
it would have been like this whole section right here. But yeah, I didn't realize I ordered a board that was as small as this one. And so it's like a miracle I was able to fit everything on it. But so yeah, actually I want to start with the compressor. Okay. Because that
Empress
is very important to the way I use this guitar, because of how it like dies.
Yeah.
It gives you that tonal sustained decay, but you still get like a lot of detail. It's like
some where I like that, where it doesn't squash the attack, maybe as much as sort of simple like 2-knob, compressor or whatever, where it's kind of like it's sustaining, but all of the like all the life's gone out of it now, sort of a thing.
Yeah,
So,
that's the idea.
yeah.
That's why I got this one. I used to have the Diamond comp.
Yep.
And it was really cool, but it had a really fast attack. And I actually
Yeah.
got it modded so the EQ was a mix knob, but it still really squashed kind of the tonality of it.
Yeah.
Which can be cool, but I wanted one that was transparent, and this one's perfect because I run it at 50 mix and like half ratio. Or that's not half, that's 4-to-1.
But 4-to-1's pretty mild as far as a compressor goes.
Right,
Like,
so
yeah.
that mixed with the half mix, and you can see it's compressing a lot. When I dig into a chord, it goes dials out, but
Yeah.
so that's
Cool.
how I'm running that one, is just to bring out that detail and sustain.
Cool. So that is that first?
That is
then?
third. I just want to
Third,
start
okay.
with that as far
'Cause
as
that's-
like narrative to the guitar
Yeah.
story, but
Is that always on?
it's
Most
most
of
of the time.
Okay.
Unless I'm doing something where I really want to like keep it pure, like for vintagey kind of sound, then I'll take that off, or I'll just turn it a little more mild.
Yep.
So the first thing is actually this 3-to-1.
Yep.
Or 3-2-1. It's just a selector, so I have my two guitars that I'll switch between. And the third channel is actually, we could even demo this if we wanted to.
Sure.
But it's a mic input. So I have
Oh.
an input inside for a mic, and then if I lift this up, you can see I have a converter in there.
Oh, wacky.
Like a transformer balanced. So you can
So it converts the
converts
mic
it
to
to high
sort of like
impedance, yeah.
to high impedance for a guitar.
Yeah, so it's really cool.
Huh.
If I want to use effects on a mic, and for live stuff, I have this new song where I'm singing into my Big Sky, and I'm actually harmonizing the vocal through like the shimmer setting. So, sorry,
So you just click. So this 3-2-1 is a like three input, one output.
yeah, so it's a switcher. Yeah.
Yeah. So and you just go between the three with that foot switch.
Yep.
So I'm assuming the two are maybe your two guitars, and you can set different levels on that, can't you? Or
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got option to turn on these like buffered gain circuits.
Right. So what mic? I mean, do you just sing through like a 58, or just sort of whatever's like vocal mic, or what do you?
Yeah, I think last time when I was recording it, what I did is I had it fully wet and sang through like a 441, and then I had like some ribbon mic for the dry signal, just separate, so I could still have that in Pro Tools. And then so the cool part about it is I actually have another stereo output on the side here that's XLR, so you go to DIs, and then I can switch it with this guy to go. So if I wanted like live, I could have them just run two lines to me, and then that would be my vocal output when I'm switching my board over. So
does that switch between so that switches to those XLR outputs instead of going to your amp then?
Yes. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's
I
just
love
for
how
like a
geeky
ton of,
that is. Yeah.
It is geeky. Yeah, it totally is. And because I had to think a lot about how
Right.
I'm going to set it up. Great for the studio though, because you can
Right.
you can just on the fly be like, oh, I want to send this sound through my effects, and you can do it on the way in, or you can split it in 100 different ways, you know.
Right.
So, but yeah, so the next
cool.
pedal is a chorus.
And what is that?
It's a Jam Waterfall. That's what it's called.
Jam
And
Waterfall
It's
chorus.
just got a really kind of luscious. I use it a lot kind of to do this almost like Leslie thing. Yeah, it's just kind of that underwater effect when you need
Yeah, it's worth saying too that in the room, it's like the attack of that guitar just coming through those two amps is like, is like really, like you were saying, like very percussive.
Yeah.
There's something like really, there's like an impact to it that's like, it probably encourages you, like you said, to play more percussively.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it does. I think some of that, I use a really thick pick with like a lot of kind of texture to it. It's called Howlin' Monkey.
Huh.
It's like $4 or $5.
Can I see that?
Yeah, it's made of some sort of nut.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I've been using these for a while. And
Interesting. Yeah.
They're really cool. For some reason, that's another thing that you really have to get used to when you use a really thick pick, because the way you play is like got to be really percussive, actually. Like the way, because you got to like really quickly kind of move it, or else it gets like scratchy, or like it'll like, you'll get like multiple kind of sounds, you know?
Right.
If that makes sense. But it gives it an extra kind of texture and punch to like the initial attack.
One more thing you're fighting is the pick, too.
Yeah, just fighting everything.
Just fighting.
I just get the worst gear possible.
Yeah.
No.
I like that. Yeah, you might be onto something there. So we go from 3, 2, 1, and then you've got your chorus.
Yep.
And then your compressor.
Yeah, and then, so I'm going to volume next.
Okay. Is that bloomery?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But so far it's been working pretty well.
And then where does it go from there?
From there it goes to the color box, which right now I'm using as kind of my first stage overdrive. But this one sounds super fat. And when you, if I use my Les Paul with the humbucker, or they're not humbuckers, but they're fatter.
Yeah.
Like, it'll kind of do that gatey thing, even though it's not very.
You have it set relatively mild as far as the color box goes.
Yeah,
but it's
can
still
get pretty spitty.
Yeah. Do you ever go crazy with it and get wacky sounds in the studio or anything like that, or do you keep it pretty tame?
Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah, I can do that. So.
Let me ask you this: do you play this guitar when you play for other artists as well, or do you play a more? I mean, do they request that you play a certain thing, or how do you approach like playing for other people?
I actually have a funny story about that because, yeah, I mean they'll have preferences, depending on the person and how geeky they are about gear.
Sure,
but like for James Anaya, the Soul Guy. He loves this guitar now because we were doing a session and I was playing this and I was doing the lead stuff, and he has this like 70s ES335 that sounds awesome, but it's like super fat sounding, and I started playing the rhythm part on this one, and I was like, dude, that sounds sick for that rhythm part. It just sounds so like cool. And so I was like, you want to try switching? We switched, and then every show we've done since then, we literally just switch our guitars. So I play the ES335, and he plays this one, yeah. And he does all his solos and stuff on it, and it's really fun to watch because like last time we did that, I've never seen him like solo so well. He was just like totally into it.
Now, is that set up really well then? I mean, do you take it to someone, or do you do your own? Have you like hot rodded it at all, or is it pretty much kind of as it comes from Sears or wherever you buy that from?
It's got new tuners.
Okay.
Because some things you just kind of need.
You have
some
to.
quality
It's
to
not
it.
gonna.
It had a major setup. It had refretted. But I think.
How about like the nut? Is that?
That's original.
That's original?
Yeah, just
like
metal.
Some metal
piece of junk. Because, it's super light, super kind of like hollow-y.
Yeah.
I think it's made of cardboard or something.
Moving on, talking more gear here. I keep getting us sidetracked talking about your crazy guitar.
It's cool.
You're from the color box. What else do we have? Where do we go next?
So the M drive I'm actually using it as a heavier overdrive, and a lot of the times I actually use this as the fuzz. So So yeah, it's got a really fat. Just a really fat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. That's not usually what you associate an M drive with.
Yeah,
like,
it just
people
works.
have it on their board and they kind of do that transparent
Yeah,
thing
the light
usually.
overdrive. Yeah.
Huh.
And then so for like most of my lead tones, I usually use both of these together.
Okay.
And then it's just like a crazy, you know. It's an overdrive sound.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a great lead sound.
Yep.
So really cuts through, really does what I need it to.
Where do we go from there?
From there we go to this new pedal I just got this last week,
Trelicopter, tremolo.
Yep. So it's just your basic, because I don't use tremolo a lot, so I just got one that works for what I'm doing, which is, you know. You need spring reverb with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you just.
Let's go there. Yep. And then into the, what is that, an octave there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so this one I often use as a, just like a high up.
So what are we here? Are we hearing one octave up only there?
That's it.
Then?
Yeah,
Okay,
and that's kind of what I use it for.
With no dry in there.
Yeah, no dry. You can, it's digital, so it's not, you know, it's not the same as using, like, I wanted the Pog 2. I see you have that one, but
I do have that, which
definitely
I love.
is not going to fit on here.
No, it's a little bigger.
But I don't often use, like, multiple octaves at once. I usually just do the high octave for little
special effects here.
Yeah,
and there. Yeah.
So, but you can do.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I use that a lot when it comes to like ambient stuff or like slide. Just gives it that cool like synthy almost texture.
Cool, and then into the Empress there, ecosystem.
Yeah, that's why we have it in stereo, so we can
the
just
big
play with that one.
Now we can have some fun. Put on headphones, everyone.
Put on headphones.
Put on headphones. If you're listening on your iPhone, you probably won't hear how cool that is, but if you put on headphones.
And it has a ton of different things you can play around with, but like it has pretty nice tape and analog. That's pretty good analog sound.
Really lush, yeah.
And then you got these things that I love playing with, especially if I'm playing at a church. Because you know you do like the Holy Spirit ambient sounds.
Yes.
And
You summon the Lord.
Fun. So. The glitter.
That's like the angels singing. Yeah. So what's actually happening there? Tell us what's happening.
So that's two different delay engines going in parallel. I think I have it set right now to do an octave up reverse delay and then another octave out of that octave.
Okay.
So it's just totally just creating this crazy sound from one note. You know,
yeah,
you just
right. Yeah,
one note, and then after that I have the cloud reverb,
which is just the most beautiful thing ever in the big sky.
Yeah, it's like you're floating in clouds.
Yep.
And, I always turn the diffusion all the way off, so you get
what
like.
Is that? Oh, the diffusion will smooth that out.
Yeah,
so it's more jittery. You like the jitteriness.
Yeah, because if you can kind of get this texture within a mix, you know, and that's going like all over the place.
Yeah.
So you kind of like. It just kind of spreads out.
That's interesting how it dynamically kind of responds too. When you hit it harder at the end there, it sort of created this like almost this wash of stuff.
Yeah. So at the end of a song, like if everyone's trash canning or something,
I
can just go to one of those settings. Like here's a bigger cloud setting, and just kind of like. You know, with the drums crashing and everything, it's pretty cool. So,
and then the big sky, obviously. I mean, we're sort of talking about it, and we've had it on. That seems like a sort of staple of your sound that you like to have that on. Mm-hmm. Do you like? Do you have kind of a default that you use on that, or how many reverbs do you change between when you're playing live?
I use 3 or 4 per set.
Okay.
You know, I have a couple for different songs. That's just kind of this basic spring. And so I use that one for like. So it's just got that jangly kind of cool.
Yep.
You know, character.
Springy thing.
Yeah, springy thing.
Yeah.
And I have another spring. And then when I need to go over to that one, I have that one for the songs. I was actually playing one earlier. That one, where it just kind of opens the heavens.
Just opens the heavens, yeah.
And so I have a few different ones, just a kind of basic. It's actually a hall. It says room, but you know, it's great for slide. I can go to this one that has a bit more mod to it. Play around with it. It's kind of hard to do this on this little setup we have here, but nice ambient stuff.
Beautiful. And do you play slide much when you're playing?
Depends. When I played for Bradford Loomis, a couple songs we kind of improv on, and I'll do like the chording kind of with the slide, and then it's just kind of ambient beat, kind of flowing behind, kind of like what I was playing a little bit, that style. And then I might use it for something like, let's see. Down on the bayou.
I love it. Lots of fun sounds. So we need to do the microphone thing at some point, but maybe we should do that. Okay, so we've hooked up a microphone. This isn't really a vocal microphone, but it will work for our uses. This is just a dynamic mic E906 that you sometimes put on a guitar cab. And what are we going to do? Tell us, Alec, what's happening now? We're going to switch to this as an input instead of your guitar.
So we're going to switch here to that's the mic.
Hello. Maybe I'll let you talk into it.
Okay. How's it going? Okay, so what I use... Turn that off.
Yeah.
What I use this for is I do like this harmonizing off the big sky. Never grow because of you. I'll never grow because of you.
I love that. Yeah. So you're changing the interval for the harmony like on the fly as you're singing along with it or whatever. That is wild. So you do that like when you play live then?
We haven't done it yet, but that's the idea because I did that for a recording. I have a recording of a song, and when you go through hi-fi, it doesn't sound so gnarly like that.
Yeah, where it's kind of the amps are naturally. Even though we don't have gain pedals on, the amps are kind of overdriving a little bit or whatever.
Creating, so, they're rolling off low and high.
Yeah. So it's a little lo-fi sounding compared to going out of the XLR out just into a line input. It would be more pristine and
it sounds sounding. Pretty cool when you do it that way.
A very creative use of the Big Sky. I think a lot of people get that pedal and they put it on cloud and then they kind of don't even touch it for the rest of their life because it just sounds so good. It's like hard to get off of that cloud setting because it's just like you just get completely lost in it and everything you play sounds beautiful or whatever. But that is like I didn't even know it did that. Like it's basically you're using it like a harmonizer.
I didn't either, man.
Yeah. So is that what setting is that? It's the
shimmer. Yeah.
Okay,
so the shimmer you can set your parameters to do whatever intervals you want.
Okay.
So right now I'm setting it as it should be, I think, a fifth below of what I'm singing.
Yep.
And then this would be the third that I'm changing between a suspended, a minor, or a major.
Yeah. So typically when people do a shimmer, it's just sort of like an octave above, but you can change. Yeah, so are there two? There's just two.
There's two.
It's got the fifth below, like you said, and then you're changing the upper interval or whatever. Yeah. Interesting.
Here we go. I'm gonna experiment.
Okay. Okay. There's a little toy piano over in the corner there.
That I got a hold of. All right.
I like it. Tell me if you need me to do anything. That's funny because those notes were nowhere near the note you actually played.
I know. I think it's because the mic was like feeding back.
like fed back, and then that's what sort of ended up resonating. Kind of fun to be able to use sort of effects you'd usually use for a guitar on like whatever. I'd imagine that gives you a lot of fun options.
Yeah, it's just a creative tool.
Yeah.
I mean, so I wrote a song based on messing with that shimmer setting, and it became one of my favorite songs on this next album. So it's like it was just like a creative tool,
Yeah.
So just to kind of show everybody that's watching the video.
Yeah.
I'm really
okay. Yeah, we can see. Yeah.
So BoostMate, Tonecraft BoostMate is this really nice low Z to high Z converter.
Yeah.
So you're not getting noise and stuff because it's transformer balance and everything. So that's as simple as it is. Just switch it over.
Which converts a mic. Yeah. So a microphone. If you don't know, anyone who's watching, a microphone output is not meant to go into a very high impedance sort of input, which most guitar pedals and things like this are set up for. So it basically changes the low impedance output of the microphone into a signal that all these pedals can sort of understand and interpret well. You mentioned you're recording a new album coming up.
This album in particular, I'm going for a lot of big orchestrated sounds. So I'm going to be getting a lot of other musicians involved that can, string players and different horns players and stuff, because I have my own horns players, but I might want like French horn or something.
Sure. Well, look forward to that. And then where can people go to check out your music?
Spotify, anywhere,
Spotify, Alec Shaw, ALEC.
There you go, yeah.
I made the mistake when I saw him live. He was like, hey, follow me on Instagram, you'll get a free T-shirt. And of course,
never
I went
got a
to
free t-shirt.
Alex Shaw.
I might
And
have
I
some in my
followed
car.
a guy named Alex Shaw, and I kept waiting for him to shout me out, but he never did. And then I learned that his name was actually Alec.
You followed a guy named Alex
I
Shaw?
follow. I think I probably still do follow Alex Shaw and not you.
Nice.
No, I do follow you now.
And then I have a single out right now that's going to be on the next record. It's going to be re-recorded, but it's called Fool's Gold, and that's kind of like the new direction, kind of. So
Gotcha. The only thing we haven't done is look at your other guitar here.
Yeah.
This poor little thing sitting in the corner this whole time.
I've forgotten about you.
So when your Silvertone's giving you grief, or when you just want a little different flavor,
more
tell
frets.
us what we've got. What we've got here. What is this?
This is a studio Les Paul with Lawler single coiler for humbucker size pickups.
Got it. So it's just
Yeah.
a single coil pickup, but it fits in a humbucker size slot.
Yeah, and it's definitely overwound. It's got more of a P90 sound. So
So a hotter output than a traditional sort of single coil.
yeah. So it's got a. I don't really need that.
And then do you change the output level then?
Yeah,
It
usually
looks
I would.
like pretty significant. I don't know if this is like
That one's
if you can
off,
actually get
I
a
think.
shot of this. This is like almost all the way up for the Silvertone.
Yeah,
Because the output.
The Silvertone
Yeah.
is lower.
Yeah.
It's easier to solo on and all that stuff. So if I
Yeah.
want to really kind of like shred for a song,
Yeah.
and I can go really high, really rock out.
Let's hear some shredding. Let's hear some
Shredding.
shreds.
I can try.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gotta get used to it again. It's been so long since
Yeah.
I played this guitar.
It's interesting. A lot of your the sound. I mean that guitar, like a lot of what I was interpreting as like the amps, is actually coming a lot from that Silvertone, isn't it? So that punchiness and that sort of percussive like air pushing. That's interesting. How different it is. Actually, I didn't expect it to be so different between the two
Oh
guitars.
yeah, definitely.
But you know what I'd love to hear too is one of my guitars.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear you play one of my guitars. I'm just curious to hear.
I'm about to break your guitar.
No, you're great. I love it. It's never sounded better. Hey, thank you so much for being here and showing us your rig.
Yeah, that's fun.
Everybody go check out Alec Shaw. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.